What's going on, guys? Coming at you with another answer to another question. This one comes from a buddy of mine at work, Cameron. He was wondering what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they go to the gym. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think the very first one, and I've talked about the importance of warming up, is you got to have a warm-up. When you get into the gym, have a warm-up. I always recommend some sort of cardiovascular exercise, or you maybe 5 minutes on the stair stepper or the treadmill or the elliptical, something that gets your heart racing a little bit, something that's going to get the blood flowing, the blood moving, warm up your body, warm up the temperature, warm up the muscles. And then let's say you're working chest that day or back or legs, doing a couple sets with either body weight or super lightweight, nothing that's close to your working set, just waking up those muscle groups. So there is a general warm-up, which is kind of your cardio warm-up, like on the treadmill. The other one is a specific warm-up, which is like more specific to what you're working that day. And so that's what a huge thing that I see is that people don't warm up. They'll walk straight in from outside, they'll scan their badge, and then they'll go right to the weights and start working out. And so I always say get a little bit of cardio in there to warm up. The next thing is I don't see people doing corrective stretching. So static stretching gets a bad rap that you shouldn't static stretch before your workout because you'll injure yourself. That's not true. Static stretching has been known to decrease maximum power output. So if you're going for a 1 rep max, don't static stretch. However, you should do corrective stretching, right? If you have a tight chest or tight hamstrings, you should be constantly stretching those out to balance out your muscle imbalances. So specific warm-up, general warm-up with cardio, foam roll, and static stretch your muscle imbalances or your muscle viruses. If you're working leg that day, you should probably stretch your hip flexors, get your hips nice and mobile so that you don't have any type of limitations. Stretch your calves, because calves are a huge limiting factor when you're trying to do squats and lunges and that sort of thing. So not properly warming up is one of the biggest mistakes that I see in the gym. The other thing is starting too heavy with their lifts. You should, and this kind of goes in with warming up, you should kind of build up, because not only does your body need to warm up, but your central nervous system has to warm up as well. If you've ever tried to jump from just a nice warm up to your max, and you've known you've hit that max before, you won't be able to do it because your central nervous system, your brain, isn't firing the way that it needs to. So warm up both your body, your muscles, as well as your brain with increasing the weights to your working sets. Another mistake that I see is too many people are on their phones. I think if you are using your phone for tracking your weights, I think that's a great thing to do, because what gets measured gets improved. But if you are using your phone to text or hop on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, then that is going to limit the intensity of your workout, and it can be a motivation killer. And I'm guilty of this as well. Sometimes I'll be in the zone, but I'll have a minute rest break or whatever my rest is that day, and I'll pull up my phone and open Instagram or something like that, and that can get rid of the motivation pretty quick. Another thing that I see is that people don't have like some type of motivational music or some type of music that they listen to. My brother-in-law Josh, I have no idea how he does this, but he listens to audiobooks while he works out. Maybe that motivates him or whatever. I personally couldn't do it. So if you've never worked out with headphones in with some higher tempo music, I would say give that a shot, because that can definitely help. Another mistake that I see, and this is a little bit more with kind of beginners, and unfortunately I fall under this category as well sometimes, is not having a plan for the workout that you're doing that day. There are times where I'm like, I've been doing this for so long, I'm gonna go hit chest, I'm just gonna kind of wing it, and then those strength sessions suck because I don't have a plan in place, and then, you know, I'm not exactly sure what weights to do at that point and that sort of thing. And so always have a plan. If you don't know what you should do that day and you're one of the people that just kind of hits the machines, I think that's great, but don't be a machine hopper. And what I mean by that is, if you look at people that don't really have experience in the gym, don't really know what they're doing, and I don't mean to judge, I think the fact that you're in the gym, kudos to you, you're trying, you're working on it, love it, but they'll go and they'll do like one set with a pec deck, and then they'll go and kind of sit on the calf machine for a little bit, and then they might do one of the ab machines, and they kind of just hop from machine to machine. And I don't have anything against you know, doing a full body workout or, you know, that sort of thing. That's not what I'm judging. What I'm judging on is they don't really know what they're doing in a way, and so they're just kind of going from spot to spot. So I would say pick a muscle group. Like if that describes you, pick a muscle group and stick with it. Do one machine, stay on that machine for 5 minutes, do 3 working sets, and then move on to the next machine. Don't be a machine hopper, and because you're not going to get a good workout that way. Another big mistake I see is that people aren't tracking their progress and their weights. I always think that you should have either a journal or maybe Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet or something on your phone, so that you can keep track, because there's the overload principle, right, which is placing a load on a body system that is greater than what it's used to, causing overcompensation. So what that looks like is you're here, you have to break yourself down to here by increasing the parameters, the weights, the sets, the reps, the tempo, that sort of thing. You adjust your workout in a way to make it more difficult for you. So you break your muscles down, and then your body builds it back up, boom, and now this is your new norm. But if you don't keep track of this number, if you don't keep track of your weights, your sets, your tempo, your rest intervals, that sort of thing, then you don't really know where you're at. And so you can't, how can you progress if you don't know where you're at, right? What gets measured gets improved. I'm trying to think, I thought I had another mistake that I see. And then not cooling down, that can be a huge thing as well. So the purpose of the warm-up is to prime your body for what's your body and your mind for what's to come. The purpose of the cool down is to help you recover from the workout that you just did. The you know, getting back on the treadmill and doing a slight walk to get your body temperature lower, foam rolling, that sort of thing, to help promote blood flow. Do more corrective stretching, because nobody can do too much corrective stretching, especially if you're you have your specific type muscles, and so working on those continuously, it's going to be kind of a lifelong thing. But a huge purpose of the cool down is to assist your body in getting rid of the byproducts of exercise, right? Lactic acid is one of the byproducts of exercise. Getting on the treadmill and doing a slight walk for 5 to 10 minutes as a cool down will help your body assimilate that lactic acid and get rid of it from the muscles, so then you'll be less sore the next day because you had a proper cool down. My sister uses the Progression app that she's able to track her whole workouts, and it helps her push higher weights and helps her in that way, which is, I think, is awesome, because then you can see where you were and, you know, kind of have a plan for the future. There are some apps out there that kind of give you the analytics, which is really cool to see. To see, okay, I started squatting this amount of weight for this many reps, and now I'm, here, and you can see the progression, and that's really cool and motivating, because when you see when you're, especially when you're working out day in and day out, you're not really seeing your progress. It's there, but you're not seeing it a whole lot until you look back on what you used to be. It's just like when you have like a new haircut, or somebody hasn't seen you for a long time, they say, oh my gosh, you look so different. And you're like, whatever, I look the exact same, because they haven't seen you. They have an idea of where you used to be, and now, because your progression is so slow and kind of in line, or it progresses over time, then they're able to see it because they have the idea of what you used to be. So tracking is huge. Nobody else is going. The light was green though. Those are kind of the big ones that I see that I think, oh, if you just, had a game plan, if you warm up, if you work, 1 to 2 muscle groups intensely, have a good cool down, don't spend too much time on your phone, don't do more weight than you can handle, have good form. These are kind of the key things. I think it's really important to have good form, because if you really hurt yourself, which is possible when you're throwing around any type of weight, you can throw out your back picking up a pencil if you do it wrong, especially if you have chronic tightness or muscle imbalances or muscle viruses. So definitely have good form. But yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I will check you later. Thanks.